This is a mixture problem involving distance, and it says you and your parents are going to your grandmother's house for dinner. Your parents leave 30 minutes after you do, but they arrive at the same time. How far away does your grandmother live if you average 48 miles per hour and your parents average 60 miles per hour making the trip? All right, when we go to define our variables to set the problem up, then one thing that we can see in the problem is that you both leave from the same location and you both arrive at the same location. So your distance and your parents' distance is the same, and we don't know what that distance is, so we'll just let x represent that distance. Now you are traveling at 48 miles per hour. Your parents, maybe because the traffic isn't so bad when they get to leave, that they can travel an average of 60 miles per hour. This is an average speed, all right? Now we don't know how long it takes you or your parents, but we can draw a timeline to illustrate how much time it takes. So when we draw our timeline, here's your trip. Okay, you leave here, you arrive here. But your parents don't leave at the same time. They leave later. This is not a distance picture, it's a timeline. In fact, your parents leave 30 minutes later. So if we let y be the time that it takes your parents to drive to the grandmother's house, then y plus this 30 minutes is going to be your time. So y is the parents' time, and y plus 30 minutes is your time. Now this 30 minutes is a problem. You see my rates are in miles per hour. My distance is going to be in miles. So my time needs to be in hours. That means I need to change that 30 minutes to 1/2 hour. Always make sure in these distance problems that you check the units and make sure your units are consistent. Now, all I have to do is write my distance equals rate times time equation for both trips. This distance, x, equals 48 times the time, y plus 1/2. I need to put that in parentheses so that the math comes out right. And this distance, x, equals 60y. So I have my two equations in two unknowns, therefore I need to put them together using substitution. Since x equals 60y, we'll just substitute that 60y over here into this equation. So I have 60y equals, now I'm going to go ahead and write this like this, just like it looks there. But what we're going to do now to solve our one equation with one unknown is we're going to use our distributive property and distribute that 48. So 60y equals 48y plus, and half of 48 is 24. Now I subtract 48y, and I get 12y equals 24, and y equals 2. So y equals 2, and that tells me that y is the time for the parents' trip. So it took them 2 hours, but it takes you 2.5 hours to make the trip. Well, let's see what the question is. The question is, how far away? How far away does your grandmother live? Well, that's the distance, that's x. So we found y. To answer the question, we're going to have to find x. So I'm going to put y into this equation. So x equals 60 times 2. That means that the grandmother lives 120 miles away.